Hello everyone. Today we are going to learn about simple input and output. That is how we are going to use the printf and scanf. What are the, how different data types will be used to print and how you are going to read them. And as a continuation part, you will also see here format specifiers and then what is standard input, output, and standard error. So these small topics can be covered. And regarding standard input and standard output, STD error, that is standard error, you will also get it in your later upcoming videos when you'll read about streams. Okay, so as a basic differences you need to know, we will be covering in this video. So first, in C programming, printf is one of the main output function. This function sends a formatted output to the screen. So whatever you will write in that particular printf function, that one will be uh, shown on your monitor. Okay, and coming to your scanf, which is one of the commonly used function to take input from the user. The scanf function reads formatted input from the standard input such as the keyboard. So what is our standard input here? It is obviously the keyboard. So whatever the values you're trying to give for a program, you will be giving that one from the keyboard. So this scanf will always read the formatted input from your keyboard, right? So then next, for what are the formatted IO? So formatted IO here is nothing but formatted input and output. So when you are trying to read an input or when you are trying to display some output on the monitor, it should follow some formats, right? So each data type is having each particular format specifier. So if I try to display some integer value, I need to give %d format specifier in your printf, or if you wanted to read integer value into your program, then you need to use %d in your scanf statement. Okay, so compulsory you need to follow these formatted IO format specifiers so that you will have a clear idea that which type of data is being read and which type of data is being displayed. Okay, so these are used to take various inputs from the user and display multiple outputs to the user. These types of IO functions can help to display the output to the user in different formats using format specifiers. And also these IO supports all data types like int, float, char, and all like you are having unsigned integers, right? Signed integers. So all those uh, are being supported by this formatted IO. So here are few basic examples which we generally, most of the times we'll be using this. So %d is used for int, %f is used for float, and %lf for double, and %c for characters, and you can have %s for your strings. That is also used very frequently. Okay, so these are few format specifiers which are having different data type values. And yeah, next comes your standard in, standard out, and standard error. So these are nothing but the streams. So generally what is a stream is where you will have a continuous flow of information, right? You'll say stream of water. So what is happening continuously, that water will be flowing, right? So in that format, when you're trying to give continuous outputs or continuously you're taking input from your keyboard, if that compiler is trying to give some error onto the output, so these functions are given by your standard streams, that is std in, std out, and std error. So programming requires input and output activities, and the C language has std in and std out streams effectively manage these processes. So std in is used for taking an input. Std out stream is used for printing output onto your monitor. Okay, this comprehensive reference will thoroughly explain the purpose, syntaxes, and the usage of the std out. Right, standard streams in C called as std in, std out makes an input and output operations easier. They make communication between the program and user simpler as a component of C standard libraries. So your std in and std out are available in your stdio.h, where um, STDI is for your input, that is standard input, and STDO, that is nothing but your standard output. So both together, those are available in your stdio.h library or the header file. Yes. Next, stdin stands for standard input. It is represented by stdin stream, which normally connected to the keyboard. It enables programs to read user enter data while they are running the code. Line buffering is a default setting in stdin, which collects input up until the user pushes the enter key, right? So if I try to execute my code after giving a input value, definitely I'll enter the key. So for that particular, unless and until you give the enter key, it is not going to enter into the next statement, right? So that buffering is given by your line buffering in your stdin. As usual, stdin is nothing but you will be taking input. From where do you take the input? From your keyboard, right? And then next, coming to your standard out, it is is stand for standard output. It is represented by standard out stream, which is frequently attached to the console or the terminal. It makes it possible, that is std out makes it possible for programs to show user information or results. STD also use the line buffered by the default. Again, why line buffered? You wanted to give the continuous output to what? To the monitor. So that is the reason again line buffered is done by the default in your STD out. And then the last one is nothing but your STD error, which is standard error message that is used to print the output on the screen or window terminal. So whenever you are getting errors, all those will be printed onto your monitor, right? So that uh, errors are being sent by your std errors streams. Okay, so std error is also one of the command output as std out, which is logged anywhere by default. So the output message goes to the console or terminal, and if once a terminal is closed, the output messages is gone. Even if you are compiling your code, what will happen? You will get few errors. What will happen when you just close that dev c++ completely? All your errors will be vanished, right? So in that way, if we want to store such output messages or error messages, then we have to redirect it to file. So when you wanted to store all those commands or errors into a file, you will be using to the file concepts. Okay, so these are the basic standard input, output, and standard error streams. Regarding all these streams, again, you will have a clear-cut idea in coming back to your files. When the files concepts you will get, you will read all these in detail, where you are using, how you are using, right? So for time being, you need to know what is standard error, what is standard in, what is standard out. And as I said, there are format specifiers for integers, float. So that all we had seen, right? So now we'll see one of the example program that how these format specifiers are being used in programming, that is in your C. Okay, so I'll show you one example for printing and as well as for scanf. So you just see this program closely. I had did commented this one. First, let me comment the input part and then out. Right. So just see the code. In this itself, I had given for both printf and scanf as example. Okay. Right. So first, let us compile, let us see the program first. As usual, you are trying to include your stdio.h header file and then starting your main. As I had written here int main, at the end, I had written the return 0 if you closely observe before that, right? And coming back, yes, coming back to your program. Here first, you are trying to just display what the values are given. Okay. So what did I take? First, I had took some character value. So its data type is char. Variable name I took is chr, and I had assigned value a, right? So always remember that characters has to be given in single or double quotes, right? Right. Next, after reading this chr, I'm just trying to print. So printf character is equals to percentile C. So here percentile C is format specifier for the character data type, right? And then this slash n is nothing but if you want to move on to the next line. And then simply you are just printing the char, right? CHR. So whatever the CHR value is there, that will be come here. That will come here in this part. And then simply I just wanted to print like this some statement. So I printf C programming. And then I'm declaring another variable, integer data type. Test integer is equals to 5. Right? And then printf number is equals to percentile D test integer. So now what will happen? Whatever the value of test integer is there, 5. So that will be printed here. And then next what I did, I had took the value like number 1 of data type float and I had given some value and number 2 some other value and simply just printing the number 1 and number 2 values, right? For double we are using the LF and for floating point number you are using the percentile F as the format specifiers, right? So now we'll just save it and compile it and we'll see what output you'll get. See, character is A and we are just printing some statement and then number 5. Number 1 is a number 5, that is an integer data type what we had to. And number 1 we took the floating point value and number 2 we took the 12.400. Okay, so these are what the format specifiers with your printf statement. That is how the printf is being with the different types of format specifiers. Okay, and then in this only we will see how we are trying to take the input values. Okay, you know the upper part I had made it into the comment and lower part we will just remove. So in this, what we are trying to do is, previously only with the printf we had seen, now we will see with the reading as well as writing. That is, you will take input from the keyboard and you will also display the program output. Okay. So let us compile it. Some mistake. Comments, extra comments are there. Again, compile. Yes, no errors. Run the code. So first it is asking to enter some character. So I'm just giving A or B, whatever it may be. So you had enter B value. It is asking to enter some integer. I had given to enter number 1. I was just giving 12. Enter number 2. I was just giving some floating point number. So the number 1 is what did I give? Number 1 also I had given 12, right? It is of floating type value. I had given the percentile F here. If you'll just closely observe in my program. See. Number 1, I had given actually 12. But what is the scanf? It is taking as a percentile F. That is, it is converting it into your lower to uppercase. I mean, lower data type to upper data type. Right? So from when you are trying to convert it, you are getting type conversion, that is implicit or explicit type conversion. Right? So these are the different format specifiers and also the reading of simple IO operations with your printf and the scanf with different format specifiers. Okay, so that's all for today's lecture in your this one regarding simple IO and all, right? So thank you all.